Since 1994, we have never seen such a high level of participation in whatever pieces of legislation, in whatever motion that has been tabled by the National Assembly. This is an indication that this matter is at the heart of all South Africans. Land has been always a sensitive matter, and it's at the heart of ordinary people, their daily struggles, their economic emancipation, and their social empowerment. Now, as South Africa, we're at a point where we must confront this matter before us. Access to land for productive use in agriculture, industrial development, human settlements will remain a defining feature for the aspiration of our people that have no access to land for their own common good. There are many voices crying for access to land to improve their living conditions and open opportunities for sustainable livelihood. We all agree access to land can improve prospects for our ability to improve the quality of life of all South Africans, whether in urban areas or in rural areas, under the jurisdiction of our traditional leaders. Access to land is not for the sake of just access, with no clear purpose. It is about ensuring that land is made available to people who want to work the land and put it into productive use so that the productive capacity of our country is maximized. This is one sector which is a very strong backbone of our economy. Our historic mission as the ANC-led government is the strategic objective of creating a united, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist, and prosperous South Africa in all its manifestations. We will stick to that. We want to say this country belongs to all of you, black and white. As the leadership of the ANC and government, we are clear that the implementation of land reform measures must not result into social fractures and racial polarization. The land reform processes that we are undertaking must pose no threat to the agricultural sector and the economy as a whole. This process must pose no threat to all the achievement we have made as a people. Coming from a fractured past, we have tried our best to live together. This, instead of dividing us, it must reinforce us to go forward. As farmers, we must continue to work hard, invest in your farms and increase production while extending a hand of collaboration with government to ensure that more and more South Africans enter the sector through organized and systematic access to land for productive use. Everything we do will be done in the confines of our Constitution and within all legislative frameworks that we have passed. Everything we'll do it as South Africans, irregardless of our diversity. As the ANC, we will not support land grab processes that are intended to undermine the economy and the sector that is very so important in our livelihood. We'll stand up as a government to oppose land grabs. We are going to strengthen our hand to curb this bad behavior of just grabbing land where you find land empty. We would also like to discourage those who are using sensitive and emotive issue of land to divide us as South Africans by distorting our land reform measures to the international community and spreading falsehood that our white farmers are facing onslaught from their own government. This, I must say, is far from the truth. We'll do our best to safeguard the estimated 460 billion worth of investment in our agricultural assets so that we leverage this for increased investment in the sector. We are resolute in protecting the sector to prevent any contraction and threat to food security. Farmers must continue to produce without any fear, as land reform is not about destroying production. Instead, it is about expanding new horizons and possibilities to double our production capacity, especially where land has already been restituted and redistributed. It is about expanding access to land and ensuring that every piece of land is productive, including communal land. As government, we will prioritize investment in agriculture to scale up production and continue to sustain our position as the most food-secure country in the continent. We are going to work closely with the agricultural sector in developing and implementing a package of post-settlement support measures to enhance our productivity of restituted land as well as communal land under the jurisdiction of our traditional leaders. As commercial farmers, we have the requisite expertise that can put to good use in the sector and cross-shade with the emerging and aspiring farmers. Many of the farmers in this room are already involved in supporting successful models to support the development of commercial black farmers of the future. To you, to these patriots, we want to say as government, thank you very much. Your country needs you to grow this sector by imparting your skills and knowledge to the next generation of commercial farmers. As we meet to deliberate and produce solutions that are envisaged, we must ensure that we work together to develop and share new models for land reform and agrarian transformation. We need shared solution to our problems. We invite all farmers and the agricultural sector as a whole to be part of this solution. We are here today because as the ANC-led government, we value commercial agriculture as a backbone of our economy and food security. Together, we can succeed. we're a nation that is capable of resolving its own challenges. We've got the capacity, we've got the energy, and we've got the mindset, the right mindset. We proved that through our negotiated settlement that led to a democratic South Africa, we are capable. Out of that, we produced a constitution that guarantees the rights and freedoms of all our people. It is this constitution that governs how we manage our affairs as a people. The past 24 years, our government has sought to address land reform through a number of legislative processes in accordance with the provision of our supreme law. However, there is an acknowledgement that the progress we have made on land reform has not been at a desired speed or pace. Similarly, there is an acknowledgement that where land restitution has been effected, not all of that land has been put into productive use. These are facts that exist against a background of poverty, high unemployment, and growing inequality. These challenges are prevailing notwithstanding all achievements we've made since 1994. This path that we are following is not sustainable. As the ANC-led government, we carry on our shoulders a heavy burden of delivering with speed on the aspiration of our people. Failure to meaningfully resolve the land question can easily lead to instability and unintended consequences. Therefore, collectively, as government and the sector, agricultural sector, we have no choice but to approach this matter with an appreciation that we are in this together. We must engage in discussions and rigorous debates to refine our best options to resolve our problems. At the end, we need to come up with solutions that will bring redress and take our country forward. For us as government, we have established an interministerial committee on land reform that I chair. The task is to provide political oversight on the work being undertaken with regards to the implementation of land reform and related anti-poverty interventions on land and agrarian reforms. This committee of ministers will be advised by a panel of experts to be appointed by the President to advise on how best the process of land expropriation should be managed. Every piece of advice will be considered to guide the implementation of programs around land expropriation. We will ensure that as farmers, you will also take an active role in the unfolding work under the Interministerial Committee on Land Reform. That means, as chairperson of that committee of ministers, we are going to work together with yourself, organized as you are. We are going to share notes on every distance that we cover, on every issue that is on our agenda. You'll know what we are discussing about. More importantly, the agricultural sector yourself, we're going to recommend strongly to the President that the unions, as they are, must be represented in the panel of experts. The 4 unions, as you have announced them, they must sit in that panel of experts that will work closely with the President, will also advise the Interministerial Committee. This panel of experts, which I'm going to recommend that your leadership becomes part of, will assist in providing unified perspective on land reforms. The Presidency will formalize the cooperation with the sector to allow for a more structured working relationship with government. Like I've said, we are in this together. We are going to walk this distance with yourself. Our approach to land reform will be based on 3 elements, namely increased security of tenure, land restitution, and land redistribution. We are clear as the ANC government that all of this must not undermine the productive use of our land. We encourage you to continue to produce and produce. Nothing will disturb that production. As we begin this work, our immediate focus is on government-owned land. We have begun to audit all land parcels that are owned by government across all spheres, including land owned by our state-owned enterprises. Government will prioritize land under the ownership of the state, including unused and underutilized state land, and ensure that this land is redistributed and put into productive use. In the main, this land will be targeted for agricultural production, human settlement, as well as economic and industrial development. We also have agricultural land that has absent farmers, and that land is lying fallow. Such land will be transferred to the people, and it will be put into productive use. As we continue with our work, we will also broaden participation and collaboration with other economic sectors that impact on agriculture and the entire value chain. One of these key sectors is mining. To address the competing interests between agriculture and mining, we have already started a process of engagement with the mining houses to make sure that land owned by mines, which is no longer available for mining, that land is put back into agricultural use. This, I can assure you, the mining houses have made their commitment to avail this land back to government, and government will avail it back to farmers. So government will work with the agricultural sector in this regard to ensure that this land is properly rehabilitated and put into productive use. Now, if we talk about land rehabilitation, we rely on your skills on how best to get that land back into productive use. And this accounts for hectares and hectares of land that the mining houses wants to take it back to government, and government take it back to farmers. According to the mining houses, agriculture is not their business. All they want what is below the soil. After taking that, they leave the soil. Ours is to get the soil back into productive use. Therefore, we are looking forward to the solutions that will emerge as outcomes of this summit. The solutions and recommendations that will be generated will be shared for consideration by government, and we'll also encourage you to meet all other sectors to allay everyone's fear that there will be land grabs, farmers will be killed. That won't happen. We must recognize that the processes we're engaging in will be tough at times and will be highly emotive. Let us take the first step in this journey of 1,000 miles. And I can assure you, we're all sober, we're all of the right frame of mind, we are positive, we are not going to destroy what we have. Even as we implement policy reforms that respond to our domestic challenges and realities, there will be those who will seek to exploit the sentiments of our people for their own selfish ends. That is why we must come up with solutions that are practical and very innovative. They must respond to how we balance domestic imperatives of transformation and building a growing economy. We are lucky as South Africa because we are coming last in the queue. We have seen certain countries that have grappled with this matter. We have seen the mistakes that they've made. We have seen the good and the bad. So we have got experience. We have learned from them. And they are very close ones that are our neighbors. If you remember, we have experienced this matter in Zimbabwe. And we can learn what is good out of that. We can learn what is bad out of it. And therefore, coming last to deal with this land, let's take all the experiences and avoid something that can collapse our economy. So we're looking at yourself as farmers. Have the confidence in your government. Feel free to voice your opinions on how best this matter can be resolved. But remember, as you do that, you must know that we are coming from a past. There should be, one way or another, an effort to restore what was wrong in the past without destroying what we have. That should be the direction. But as government, we are going to protect land. We are not going to allow people to invade land, to grab land. We are going to be tough on that. Any failure to work together will be a very costly thing in our efforts to build a united and a prosperous nation. It will create a perception that we are not serious in achieving equitable distribution of economic benefits to all our people. You must, as you conclude with the work of the summit, give all South Africans an assurance. Give all South Africans courage that the road ahead, all the things that we think we want to do are achievable. Let's work together. I can see in your midst that more and more black emerging farmers are pulled together to work with yourself, impart the skills. As government, we are going to support your efforts as farmers. We have had a meeting in the background. We have been given all the options, but all what we are going to prioritize is to support you as farmers. There will be financial support that will come directly from government. Now, some are talking about a number of options that emanated from that meeting, and we are going to discuss those options and will revert back to yourself and to say, with this, this is what we're saying. With this, this is what we're saying. But the message from the President, we are expecting the first rains to fall, and we want to see dust. We want to see you tilling the land. And in the process, as government, we are prepared to support you to till the land so that there's food and food plenty for all of us. Once more, thank you very much for inviting us to be part of this meeting, and want to assure you we're going to be next to you as we move, as we travel this journey. I'm going to be part of the pledge that is going to be signed by the 4 unions. So put a space for the 5th union. That union is government. Thank you very much.
Mr. Deputy President, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for those words. Deputy President, we will leave that space open for you